Welcome to the Onebar and Lupagus Show, your daily source for everything Minnesota Vikings.
All right, welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus Show. I'm Onebar. Vikings releasing their first unofficial depth chart. Football's getting real. Let's go. We're going to talk about the whole depth chart. Biggest surprises, biggest takeaways. I've glanced at it. I have not looked at it overly deep because I want my reactions to be pure, just like me. Hit that sub button if you've not. If you're watching, do us a favor, hit the sub. We're here every damn day talking Vikings. We're almost to 15,000 subs. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaways. And before we get into it, it's easy to say, oh, man, overreacting to the first depth chart. Oh, overreacting. I looked at last year's first unofficial depth chart, and when you compare that to the final 53, it was actually pretty damn close. They were pretty close with the first run at it. So there's definitely something to put in to the depth chart. So here we go. Quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, Sam Howell listed as the backup, Brett Rippon and Max Brosmer. No surprises there. We know Sam Howell has been having issues, but it's not to the point where all of a sudden he's like down the depth chart. The preseason games will be a telling tale of where he lands. Max Brosmer, we love him, but he should be there, and that makes sense. So how many will they keep? Will Sam Howell drop? No surprise there. Running backs, all right, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, Ty Chandler, Xavier Scott. That has been one to watch at camp, where Scott is getting run with the twos, kind of 50-50 it sounds like. So Ty Chandler, I bet this is very, very close. I get why they put Ty Chandler there, but if I was a betting man, I say Xavier Scott gets that spot if they keep three running backs initially. Fullback, CJ Ham, all good. Wide receiver. This is where it's going to get interesting. And I don't remember. I didn't look at this. So Jefferson, his backups, Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, Fleming, Price, Lewis. Miles Price, my extreme dark horse to make the squad, is not looking good for me, if that's where he's ending up. The other wide receiver, we got Jordan Mason, Lucky Jackson. Look at that, Lucky Jackson. So according to this depth chart, week one, Lucky Jackson is out there. He is out there, baby. And I love it. The dude is having a camp. Rondale Moore. Okay. Rondale Moore. Tim Jones, a guy we haven't heard a ton of. Deshaun Jones, a guy the Vikings definitely love. Thayer Thomas, Silas Bolden, absolutely buried. I don't know if they have punt returners on here. It'll be interesting to see if Silas Bolden is that guy. But Rondale Moore, Lucky Jackson is earning his spot. I like it. Tim Jones. I guess this is how I would figure it would shake out. Interesting. All right. Actually, no, it's not. I figured Jones would be up, and I figured Silas Bolden would be up. Let's go to tight end. This should be pretty cut and dry with the injuries. So Hawkinson, Oliver, Urasek, okay, whatever that means. I think if the season starts today, those are your three tight ends. Left tackle, Darius School, Logan Brown listed as the left tackle. All right. Left guard, Donovan Jackson, Blake Brandel, okay, Joe Huber, Rashawn Lee, Ryan Kelly, Michael Juergens, Zeke Corral. Juergens didn't have overly fantastic showing, I think, at the night practice. But looking at this, again, no big surprises. I don't think anybody expects Lee or Huber. Huber's gonna be a good practice squad. Logan Brown is definitely not going to jump Justin School, but it's a matter of if they keep him on the 53. So the right guard, Will Fries, Henry Bird gets that nod over there. But Blake Brandel, it sounds like he is going to be that swing guard or possible tackle. So just because Henry Bird is listed as that backup right guard, definitely this should not give him warm and fuzzies that he's going to make the squad. Right tackle, Brian O'Neill, Walter Rouse. They do have him listed as a tackle. There was murmurs that they might try him at guard, but it doesn't sound like that has really been happening. And Rouse is actually having a pretty decent camp. So he was a guy that Lupagus and I were saying, like, man, it's going to be tough for him to make this 53. I think he makes it. At least at this point. Leroy Watson, Matt Nelson had that injury at the scrimmage. It sounds like that's not great. So he's probably not long for the roster. So offensively, easily wide receiver is the most interesting one out of this. And then that running back three, and then how the whole line shakes up. But nothing overly crazy here. I'm very curious about the defensive line and the cornerbacks. So stick around. Let's go to defense. Jordan, you get to take a little break for your first three games. Thank you. Defensive line. Let's go. Allen, Phillips, Hargrave, Bunt, Levi, Drake, Rodriguez coming out of the gates hot. Look at that. Jalen Redmond, Ingram Dawkins, Taki Taimani, a little buried there. So I would have figured Taimani would have been a little bit higher on here, but there is no argument here. Will they keep 6? Will they keep 7? Will they keep 5? But Jalen Redmond's having a very good camp. So, all right, defensive line, Levi Drake getting the love he deserves. Outside linebacker, edge rushers, we got Grenard, Van Ginkel, Turner, Gabe Murphy, Bo Richter, Batty, Chaz Chambliss. So last year's first depth chart, they had Bo Richter last. They had him last, and we all know, he ended up being on those initial cuts but came back. So this is one to watch. Gabe Murphy, it sounds like they are loving him quite a bit. If it came down to it, I think Gabe Murphy would be kept over Bo Richter. But there's your outside linebackers. Inside linebackers, Cashman, Pace, Wilson. Oh! Asamoah. The hell's he doing there? Kobe King, come on, man. You gotta step it up. That's weird. I wouldn't have expected this at all. I would have honestly wouldn't have been surprised if they had Asamoah last. I don't think anybody expects him to make the team. Kobe King, I know it's not like he's doesn't sound like he's shocking everybody out there, but yeah, that's actually pretty surprising. Eric Wilson being the number 1 backup isn't, but Kobe King, you gotta hop Brian Asamoah. I mean, he's laying people out in practice. All right, cornerback, here we go. Rodgers, Okudah, the number 1 backup. They got Reddy Stewart and Keenan Garber. Sorry, I skipped one. Byron Murphy, Mekhi Blackman is the backup. Then Nudie, Ambry, and Zamaya Vaughn. Absolutely buried on that depth chart. Huh. All right, so they got Rodgers, Okudah, and Byron Murphy as the top 3, and then Mekhi Blackman. Very curious to see how he does in preseason. I hope they play the ass out of him. He needs to see a ton of the field. And Nudie, but Zamaya Vaughn buried beneath Ambry Thomas. This is one I'm not putting a ton of thought into. I still think Zamaya Vaughn is I don't understand that one. I got nothing. Safety, Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus, and the main backups, Jay Ward, Theo Jackson. Everybody's that's how it's going to shake out. They got Tavir Thomas listed as a safety, which is not a good sign for him. He was looked at as a special teamer, a guy who can play multiple spots in the secondary, but a guy who's been very, very, very quiet in camp. So Tavir Thomas has a long way to go to make the squad. And I don't know if they do special teams. But okay, here we go. Ryan Wright, Will Reichard, boom. Long snapper, punt returners, Rondale Moore. All right, so they got Rondale Moore, Lucky Jackson, Silas Bolden, and then Miles Price, and then Ty Felton. Ty Felton as the main kickoff returner. And Ty Felton, that's where he's going to land. That's where we're going to see him. Maybe he has a few packages on offense because he's very speedy, and maybe they stretch the field, but that's where he's going to make his mark as a rookie, I think, kickoff returner. So I love that he's going to be seeing the field at least. And with his backup being Ty Chandler, ladies and gentlemen, Ty Felton will be your kick returner this year. Rondale Moore, man, I wish Silas Bolden could snap that thing from him, because you go back up to this wide receiver at this rate, Silas Bolden's going to be on the practice squad. But biggest takeaways, definitely inside linebacker, the cornerback room, the defensive line. I know I've been like, is Levi, I keep saying like, I'm not sold if Levi Drake Rodriguez is going to make the 53. This points to him absolutely making. I hope he makes it. So that's good. But this defensive line is beautiful. Look at that thing. Look at the depth. But yeah, inside linebacker, Brian Asamoah, but it's the first official depth chart, unofficial, I should say. So let me know your thoughts. Nothing overly crazy. Again, once the preseason games get in the full effect and you start seeing where these guys are actually going out in the game, that will be a big tell. If Zamaya Vaughn is getting out there in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, then it's time to be like, all right, maybe this guy is buried. We'll see. Let me know in the comments. Remember, we're going live tonight, and you know what? We'll probably be here before that. So hit that sub, hit that like, comment below.